Good evening. Welcome to the overnight edition of From Day One. Art Bell's final episode, part 3, is waiting on deck for us. But while we grab the mailbag, I want to just go over a couple things. I'm debating actually making these episodes shorter. Yeah, I don't believe the YouTube algorithm loves a 1 hour, 3 day a week show. So I'm heavily debating making them half hours. Still possibly doing 3, but only doing 30 minutes per show. That also does lead us to have the ability that if the situation does call for it, that we can go ahead and extend an episode back to an hour to cover extra items, like if for a special event that comes in or something. But I have a feeling that might do better with the old YouTube algorithm for content being produced. If you have any suggestions or thoughts on it, either drop a comment below or, of course, at the email gchero@gmail.com. Love to hear from you guys before we actually go ahead and put any new implementations in, as I'm doing this show for you guys. It would be the only thing. So if you guys are wanting still the longer shows, let me know, because I don't want to switch and find out you guys are not happy because you don't have more of the content, or if you would like the smaller shows, let me know. Alright, so with that being said, we will continue to do our grind for the overnight. While we do that, and I'll actually have to do the experience leveling here for the main heroes. While we do that, let's get to Art Bell, and again, his very last time that he was on the radio before his death passed. Radio show from March 11th, 2016. His absolute last final time that he appeared on the radio anywhere. So we go back in time for that very last time Art Bell got to have his voice from the great American Southwest.
Who reached midnight in the desert via Skype worldwide. If on a computer, please be sure to use a headphone mic and call MITD 51. That's MITD 51.
Well, that's it. And let me give you the other numbers. Somebody said, are you going to use first-time caller line? Sure I am. I might as well give out all the numbers. I don't care. First-time callers, area code 775-285-5800. 775-285-5800. Now, we have a special line, and heck, you can call that too. I don't care. Area code 575-208-7787. That is the Roswell portal. If you're actually calling through Roswell to get the show when you do that. Area code 575-208-7787. And we are open for anything. Anything you want to talk about is fair game in that. Yes, tonight does include political comment. This is the most interesting, fascinating, riveting, outrageous political season I've ever seen in my life. And though politics most times bores me to tears, there's nothing boring about what's going on right now. Very controversial, to be sure, but boring? No, not boring. So I couldn't resist. Sorry about that. I know that will put me in the hated class, but I am too old to care. Stephen on Skype, you're on the air.
Hey, Art.
Hey.
Great to hear you on the radio again.
Great to be here.
Hey, so I wanted to get your take on the fact that Rubio and Kasich are still in the race, even though there's no mathematical path to the nomination, and what you think will happen.
Bingo, boy, are you asking the right one. I want to take it further than that. Rubio and Kasich are still there. Rubio said that if you want to vote for Kasich in Ohio, go ahead and do it. Basically, he said that. And so that tells you what kind of pressure is applied right now to stop Trump. And here's what I want to ask. So that, I said I was going to take it a little further. This is a rough question. If we get up to the we actually get to the point where the convention is here, nobody has quite enough delegates to be the nominee, and then the Republican Party decides to, through some weird rule change, I'm not talking about votes now, I'm talking about some weird rule change, to steal the election from Trump. What do you think that would be about?
I think they'll all sit, I think a huge chunk, like 40% of the Republican Party, will sit the election out, and they'll lose all the Senate races, not only the presidency, but all the Senate and House races. And I think it could be an absolute disaster, and I don't see how it cannot happen at this point. I mean, it seems like they're on a path to exactly that, and nobody has a solution to stop it. And I think they know too that Trump can't possibly win a general, so they don't really know.
I'm not convinced of that at all.
Really? I think the highlight reel will take him down. His own highlight reel.
You know, it might. You never know, but so far, everything they've predicted will be the end of Trump has only been higher numbers for Trump.
Well, it's been higher numbers inside the Republican electorate, but I don't think, when
you're dismissing, sir. You're dismissing how many Democrats are crossing over. This is something CNN talk about. How many Democrats are crossing over? You're dismissing that. I think there are many.
I know. I watch CNN a lot too, but I really don't think that's accurate. I don't think most Democrats are going to cross over. I think there's probably a few, but I just don't.
We'll find out, sir. We're going to find out. That's for sure.
Anyway, I think it's fascinating. I'm with you. Politics gets boring, but this election is absolutely fascinating.
Baby, it's really it's the king of all the races that I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know how the Republicans, with their reverence for America and democracy, I don't know how they reconcile that with staying in a race when there's no mathematical path.
I mean, there was nothing this cool. I remember Nixon sweating. That was about as cool as it got.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Anyway, great to hear you back.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate the call. No, the question was asked in earnest, and I want to ask it again of all of you. Any of you are certainly welcome to respond to it. And it is this. Just think for a moment. Just think about it for a moment. If we get all the way to the convention, and now I'm not talking about votes. I mean, this is a valid way to try and stop Trump. If Rubio and all the rest of them that are left want to and soak up enough delegates that, he won't make it, then what happens at an open convention? It could be virtually anything, right? Anything. Once you've got an open convention, look out, baby. Anything could happen. But if he goes in with just about enough delegates, and then they figure out some way to steal the election from him, that's really an ugly thought. The response to it would be frightening, I think. And I think it's actually likely. He may get enough delegates to go ahead and get the nomination. But if he doesn't and they actually steal it from him, that would be a bad moment in America, a very, very, very bad moment. Hello there. In Atlanta, I believe you're on the air.
Later, Roswell's Art.
Hey. Thank you.
This is Juan.
Juan?
Yes. Shout out to all the bell gavers. And I'm glad to hear you back, and I'm glad that I'm hoping this isn't the last time you fill in, because I've got a dream interview I have to
who would it be?
Interview Bill Walton.
Bill Walton. Okay, well, you never know. I mean, it could happen.
Oh yeah, I think you both his new book he's come out. It's going to be discussing his recovery from his back troubles. So I think you guys will have a lot more in common than you think.
Maybe. Thank you. My back troubles are You can't believe. That little device I have helps immensely, but when you've got a back as bad as mine, you know, I watch these commercials on TV. I'm sure you've seen them, right? The guy has a bad back. He can't do anything. His daughter is frustrated because dad won't come walk the dog because his back hurts. That's me, right? And then they have this commercial on TV about how they fix your back and you walk out of the office with a Band-Aid on your lower back. So I went to my doctor and I said, how about that? Can I go to the Band-Aid place? Basically, he sat me down and said, no, son, your back is, and then he used a word that I can't repeat. Even Donald couldn't repeat it. But messed up. Leave it at that. Hello there. You're on the air.
Hi. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Donald Trump. I think that any candidate who can appeal to Bernie Sanders supporters on the one hand, like your earlier caller, and appeal to right-wingers in the Republican Party, what that tells me is he doesn't believe in anything. Because if you believe in everything, you don't believe in anything. And if he appeals to that broad...
No, wait a minute. Let me tell you what I think there is going on with Donald, all right? I think that he has not talked about a lot of things that he probably should talk about, and I'm talking about details of what he'll do, because frankly, you know, they're accusing him of not being a conservative. He's probably not. He's probably kind of in between, and he doesn't want to reveal that. Frankly, I consider that to be a plus, that he's not a pure conservative, and he's definitely not.
Well, yeah, but people oppose the quote-unquote establishment, which, whatever that is, he's a billionaire, but he's not part of the establishment. I think that's funny. But the establishment's attacked because it lies to the voters, tricks them, doesn't deliver on it. But at the same time, Trump gets praised because he's basically lying and pretending to be a conservative. I agree with you. He's not a conservative. I don't think he's seriously thought about political issues his whole life. He's a car salesman who just will say anything to get you to sign on the dotted line. If you look at his political program, insofar as it exists, the only thing he seems to really believe in is building a wall to keep Mexicans out. Other than that, what does he believe in? I mean, he'll say whatever he wants, whatever.
Well, I agree with him, sir. Hold on. I agree with him on trade.
Well, okay, but that's a good example of how he's living in fantasy land. He mentioned bringing Apple jobs back to the United States. That will never happen because the wages in the United States are not going to be comparable to what you can pay in these other countries like Vietnam or China or wherever. And you can pass all the laws you want and raise the tariffs and whatever.
Well, no. You can gain something if you take a very hard position and you say, all right, there's going to be like a 45. They were talking about 45% tariff, and he said that's just a threat. And he's right. The only way you're going to get jobs back into the U.S. is to level a really big threat and then be prepared to follow through on it if you have to. And that would be very painful for the American people because prices would go up. But ultimately, you would see factories starting to come back. I believe that.
Yeah, it would. The only way if let's say that happened, I don't believe that, but let's say that did happen. Well, then that means that the cost of your iPhone is going to go up a lot. So I hope everybody's ready for that. A lot, not a little bit, a lot.
I know.
So what you're basically doing is raising prices on some consumer goods for the lowest level of the economy, for middle-class people, poor people who shop at Walmart, and they want those cheap electronic goods and they want those cheap shirts. So let's make it more expensive by either imposing tariffs or bringing the jobs back to the U.S. and paying them the higher wages.
Mm-hmm.
I love it when people say we should have a $15 minimum wage. Why stop there? Let's make it $25 an hour. I mean, the reality is that economics doesn't work that way. You can't create wealth by fiat. You can't create a law and say everybody's going to be rich. I don't know. To do that.
I know.
I'm not a rich person myself, but Trump is playing everybody for a sucker. I don't think he can win, but if he does win, I just can't wait for all the promises that will not be fulfilled. Because the American presidency isn't a dictatorship, and Donald Trump doesn't know what he wants to do either. I honestly think in other circumstances he could just as easily run as a Democrat, because if you look at a lot of what he says he wants to repeal Obamacare, but he's for the individual mandate.
No, I'm with you, man. I think he is as much I think he's a liberal as he is a conservative. I think he's all over the place and doesn't have any fixed ideology at all. But frankly, sir, I consider that a plus.
Well, I don't think, if you look at his voters, one of the things that interests me is I think if you were to ask a Trump supporter, what is Trumpism? What does Trump believe? What is it you think he wants? I don't think anyone other than the wall would have any idea. And I mean, to me, that seems to be scary, that we're just want to elect somebody because he wants to says he wants to burn everything down, or because he's mad. I mean, I'm mad too, but I don't think that anger is a good substitute for reason when we're selecting the leaders of the country. And I think it's kind of a little sad that we're going from Thomas Jefferson and Theodore Roosevelt to Donald Trump.
Well, but we're not, sir. We're not. There's so much in between those guys and Trump. See, I read this earlier, and I'm not going to read it again, but basically I'm saying that the reason we've got Trump, the reason the establishment has Trump, is because in election after election after election, they haven't followed through. They haven't done what they said they were going to do, and we're in big trouble. Whether you want to look at the debt or you want to look at jobs or the economy or the roads or whatever you want to look at, we are in trouble. I think we all agree on that. And in election after election, sir, since the Jeffersons, we haven't made progress. We're kind of moving back a little.
Well, voters want to have their cake and eat it too. They will complain that we have a debt, but then they don't want to either raise taxes or cut spending. They'll complain that Social Security is going to go bankrupt, but they don't want to do anything.
Oh, there's going to be pain. There's going to be pain.
But the voters have to look in the mirror and blame themselves because they are not sophisticated enough to accept the trade-offs that have to be made to either preserve our entitlement programs or to repair the crumbling infrastructure or whatever people want to complain about. It's their own fault because they cannot, like adults, look at these problems and accept the fact that you just can't have your cake and eat it too all the time. And so voters who keep complaining about politicians, hey, we elect these politicians. The truth of the matter is politicians can't shoot straight and be honest with people because they'll act like children and get mad. If you look at Social Security, if anybody ever talks about cutting Social Security or raising taxes, people have a little temper tantrum. Well, then what are politicians going to do? I mean, that's the voters' fault. So I wish people would quit.
No, wait a minute. Wait. Who is it that stole from the Social Security fund in the first place? It wasn't the people, was it?
No, it is.
It was our politicians. No, it's our politicians.
The people, if Social Security was put in kind of rational basis, you'd have by the old folks because they'd say that they're being robbed of what they paid in, even than they ever paid in. So the fact is Social Security really wasn't begun for the purpose that it has evolved into. And so now people would get mad if you try to cut back. I mean, you have to do something. You have to raise...
My dear friend, if they hadn't robbed the fund, there'd be plenty of money to pay people for the next 30 or 40 years with no problem at all. Yes.
People live longer.
Oh,
if you were to take the money that you put in Social Security, that money does not pay for the benefits that the average worker eventually gets.
Oh, sir, the reason the money isn't there is because they stole it. Come on, be real.
The reason we have problems is because people do not want to ever either pay more taxes or cut spending. They want to. The same people who would say they want a smaller government, if you ask them on specific programs, would be Social Security or...
All right, listen, the one place that I think you and I agree is that to make progress, there's going to be pain, right?
Right, and people can't take it. They can't take their medicine, so they just stand and complain about the Illuminati.
All right, well, we'll leave it there. Yeah, they complain about the Illuminati. No, there's going to be pain to bring the jobs back to the United States, to really get the debt down where, our grandchildren are going to be able to afford something. To do any of the important things that are ahead, there's going to be pain. There's no doubt about that. On Skype, you're on the air. Hello.
Go Gab. Roswell's there, Art.
Roswell's there.
There's a little delay. Anyways, I'm calling in to give you 3 points on Trump that I think everybody's missing.
Yeah, go ahead.
And those 3 points are, first off, I worked at G8 Summit in Sea Island. If you don't remember, 4 days ago, there was Democrats and Republicans and billionaires that met on Sea Island again.
Okay. And
that's in the Golden Coast of Georgia.
Right.
Look, 4 days later, we have this big riot in Chicago when Trump's coming in. It was organized.
Oh, of
it
course
was organized by big money. Because they do not want what Trump is bringing. He is bringing...
I don't know. Look, sir, it was organized pretty much by MoveOn.org. Now that
Yeah, but that's Soros funded, and that's big money, and it's also the politicians on both sides are in agreement they don't want to see Trump because of his brand of populism. And like I said, I worked at G8 Summit. I kind of know how these people operate. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to try to be like I know everything like the last caller. But what I will say is that I do understand what's going on right now with this election cycle and what they're trying to do. My second point is with Apple. You had asked about the
Okay,
Apple.
but before we leave the political arena,
I'm going to go back.
how do you think this is going to wind up? In other words, is he going to end up getting enough delegates to be anointed? Or is it going to be an open convention and a bloodbath? What's going to happen?
Well, I live in Ohio, Art.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I don't – Kasich has this pipe dream he's going to take Ohio. He's not. He's a good governor, and he was a good congressman.
The latest polls show Kasich getting pretty close to Trump.
Yeah, he may get close, but that's only because he can really milk that northern tier of Ohio, the Cleveland, Akron area, because that's where he's from. So, I mean, that's just that's the nature of Ohio politics.
Okay.
But I don't think on a national, especially when it comes crunch time, he's not going to be able to pull it. Anyways, going back to what I was trying to get to with Apple.
Sure.
First off, the NSA has cracked everything. Trust me on this. They could get it. They could go get a FISA warrant. I used to be LEO, federal LEO.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling you stuff that, look, it's already been put out with PRISM and everything else that the old defector to, what's his name, leaked. I can't think of his name off the hand. But anywho.
So you think a FISA warrant and they could force Apple in a New York second?
Not even that. They can go through NSA and under a FISA. But what I'm telling you is the FBI, if you think about it, why are they pushing this and putting this in the limelight like, oh, this is so secure? It's not that secure.
Well, maybe if Snowden wasn't in Moscow, he could break it.
Well, it's been broken, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's muff fake thrown up. Now, the thing you mentioned about David Duke, okay, the first day when he first, and all he did as a member of the alt-right community now, all David Duke did was say he supported Trump. That's it. He didn't say.
I didn't even know he did that. I thought it was always a question of whether it was just he was disavowed along with the KKK or whatever.
Yeah, he disavowed him that morning. I think somebody asked him. He disavowed it by the time that they actually brought it up, like 8 times.
Yeah. But in the CNN interview, that's not so easily sold. CNN's right about that because if Donald hadn't repeated the name of David Duke and the KKK, and he did repeat it, that lets us know he heard, which means he intentionally didn't at that instant disavow. Well, we have going on in the pretty deep South, Mississippi, I do believe was coming up, and so he may have done it for strategic reasons, but.
Well, like what we used to say in the federal LEO community, I'm going to be very honest. You go to a Klan rally, and let's say there's 300 people there. There might be 20 Bubbas. The rest of them are either FBI agents or informants.
That could be.
That's for real.
Yeah,
I mean,
that could be.
And it's old, used-up stuff. The alt-right is made up of regular folks, and it's not about anything other than nationalism and just. I don't know, man. I have more in common with somebody that wants to have a black nationalistic feel than I do with just a regular person.
All right. I appreciate your call, sir, but that was a Trump screw-up. I mean, that's all there is to it. That was a Trump screw-up. Big one. You know, he tried to say something, I believe, the next day about an earpiece, right? Nonsense. He repeated the name David Duke. I knew, I was watching live when it happened, and I knew, I think he did. I don't think that Trump is racist. Okay? Let me get that much out. I don't believe that Trump is racist. But I think for political, strategic reasons, he did not do what he had done every time previously, and that was he wanted to generate headlines. That's what the guy is doing. It's all about news cycles, owning news cycles, and oh, baby, he owns them. No question about that. He really, really owns news cycles. But that was costly. You know, a lot of his stuff hasn't been that costly, but that was costly. In my heart, I don't think he's a racist at all. But I think that not answering that question in a timely manner made people wonder. And that was a goof. That was a big goof on his part, my opinion. Hello there, you're on the air.
Hey there, Art. Hey, I want to transition from this. Here we are listening to your program when you're coming back, and the one or two programs that are like it. And if we really listen to the guests that you've had on through the years, and others have had on, well, it's Jesse Ventura got it right. It's Democrats, Crips, and Republicans. It's a couple of gangs. They have nothing to do with the Constitution or the way our country runs. And here we are being laughed at if we do have human hybrids, like one of your guests talked about this year, if we do have extraterrestrial races, some of whom may not have our best interest in mind, some of whom may want to enslave us. If we have all this going on, they're laughing at us for talking about men that won't really have enough power to do that much. What do you say to that, you know?
Well, I say that if we have this human-alien hybrid thing going on, then, yeah, the rest of it doesn't matter much. So,
Again, we'll return as soon as their musical bumper is over. Art Bell's very last time on the radio.
Midnight in the Desert. To call the show, if you're east of midnight, call 1-952. Call Art. If you're west of midnight, call 1-952-225-5278.
hi, everybody. I'm Art Bell, filling in for Heather Wade. It's a pleasure to be here, and I just looked up at the clock and realized we're in the final half hour. How is that possible? I mean, really, how is that possible? We just started a few minutes ago. All right, let's go to the first-time caller line. You're on the air. Hello. Going once.
Is that me?
Yeah, it's you.
I'm on the first-time calling line?
Yes, you are.
I thought you gave a different number.
Oh, no. You're on our special line. I'm sorry. Next to it.
Holy cow, I was going to be crazy. I was going to go crazy because I'm like, I'm not calling the first-time calling line. Sorry.
Yeah, you're on the special line. Anyway, go ahead.
Special line, yeah. Anyways, my name's Kyle from High Falls.
Right.
I just added myself to BellGab. Hopefully the admins add me. I haven't checked my emails yet anyways. But yes, I definitely agree with I guess I agree with a lot of your callers that have been tonight about Trump or whatever, and the fact that he's not actually an insider, and it's kind of refreshing to see somebody that's not an insider, not a globalist, not a New World Order globalist, that is running for president, kind of like Reagan. Remember how he was, wasn't he a movie star or whatever at one point?
Well, yes.
Yeah, he was a movie star, and so was Trump or whatever, and he did very good for our country.
Well, Trump was a reality TV star, actually. Ronald Reagan did a lot of Western stuff like that.
Yeah, Reagan was a Western kind of guy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the Apple iPhone kind of thing, the situation, is I think that they're trying to start a precedent. That's what's going on. They're trying to start, I'm not as smart as your other callers.
Who's trying to start the precedent? The Apple company or the government? The government?
The government's trying to start a precedent.
I'd say that's very likely. Mm-hmm.
The government start a precedent. They're trying to say that, these terrorists are doing these things, so we need to get into this iPhone or whatever.
Right.
And, that's setting a precedent. So if they get in that one iPhone, they can get anybody's iPhone and so forth and so forth.
You're right. Look, here's the thing again. I'm going to drop this on you, and maybe somebody can answer it. Why can't the government just give the damn phone to Apple and say, all right, open it. You don't have to give us a program. You don't have to tell us how you open it. We don't care. Open it so we can solve this mystery. And if there are murders and, the information in a phone could lead to the solving of a murder, then I can understand somebody handing the phone to Apple and saying, open it. Some court could decide that, and Apple could open it, give it back to them, that'd be the end of that. They don't have to know, they don't have to have a secret back door or anything of that sort, which is what it seems like they want. Not just open the damn thing and hand it back to them. Let's go to Bruce, who is on Skype. Hello.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Hey, cool.
Yeah.
The first time I heard you was you had Reba McEntire as a guest.
Right.
And a trucker called in and said how great it was to hear her songs when he was driving on the long, lonely highways. And you could really hear in his voice that he meant it.
I don't remember interviewing Reba.
It was a long time ago.
Boy, it must have been. It's so long ago that I don't remember.
So anyway, I'm a middle wing ultra moderate.
A middle wing ultra moderate? Was that correct? A middle wing ultra moderate.
I made that up myself.
And it means what?
Well, it means I thought at first you need a right wing and a left wing if you're going to fly.
Yeah, so we've heard.
Yeah, I changed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You just need the middle wing, which I think is most people.
Doesn't a middle wing ultra moderate crash a lot?
No.
No wings.
Because we're not subject to side drafts and things like that as much.
So in other words, you're flying, as I was describing earlier. I would do that. If I had no fear, that was one of my questions tonight, no fear at all, I would do that. I would put on one of those suits. And I would go to a very high mountain somewhere and jump off. No doubt, granting the wish this morning of lots and lots of people. After talking about politics. Let's go to the phone and whoever's next, which in this case is Las Vegas, I think. Hello.
Good to hear your voice, Art. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine.
How's the family Bell?
The family Bells, the ABs, are thriving. Thank you.
I only have 2 points, and this is all political. One, the best thing that could happen is Cruz takes a powder. I mean, the only introduction he's given us at this particular point is hair oil, supply side Jesus, and headlights.
Yeah, but if Cruz takes a powder, I mean, he's the only one who's delegate close at all to Trump, right?
Yeah, but he has no constituency. He's the most hated person.
Well, he is hated. Actually, everybody in the Senate pretty much hates him. Well, he does have one endorsement. You're right, though. I mean, most people hate Cruz. But in today's environment, that usually is a good thing. I mean, it means all those angry people have someone to go to. So it's either Cruz or Trump. And how can he drop out? He's got the second most delegates, Trump.
Well, the whole thing was, I don't think he believed that he was going to go this far. I knew that he, was relying on the evangelical, and that didn't really turn out as well as he thought he did.
Boy, what a surprise there, huh?
Well, again, Jesus saves, and, hold that Bible, but we make it a point to lie about it. Secondly, Donald, as far as Trump is concerned, I don't know whether he is the chemo or the cancer for the Republican Party. I'm a West Coast liberal elitist Democrat. I mean, I absolutely think this is hilarious to watch this. But the whole thing to it is that he's got what they say. He's got piles of what you might say FU money, and he can literally say FU if he wanted to. But he's in a situation where this is fomentation of 20 years of listening to that gas bag Limbaugh and then getting on all ripped.
I'm curious. I haven't heard Rush. What are his comments about Trump?
Short of him walking on water, okay? Because he was obviously vehemently at first opposed to Trump because he was a clown and a huckster and a Carney and on and on and on.
Wait a minute. He went from that to endorsing him, or in really?
He's changed. He's more or less changing horses. What he's going from Ted Cruz, which has been his oxygen, for guys like him and Levin and Sean Hannity. This was the fringy guy, and this is Ted Cruz. Not that the momentum is changing; they're all speaking from the other sides of their mouths. So, but this is years of Limbaugh, complaining and talking. This government's doing this.
I really want to be clear here, sir. You're telling me that Rush is now behind Trump?
What I'm saying is that yes, Rush Limbaugh is more or less being a kinder, gentler windbag when it comes to Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, maybe he's figured out that, the wind seemed to be blowing in a certain direction, and I best put my sails up or I'll be left behind.
Well, he's always been a windsock, but he's always been able to have his pulse on, your average blue collar white guy who's pissed off at everything. Mm-hmm. And don't forget, that created that which begot the teabaggers. The teabaggers were going to go out, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. and clean house. They've done nothing.
All they did really was fill up my email with spam. I got so much spam from the teabaggers. Jeez. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of spam. It made it easy to get rid of. Everything from the Tea Party, all at once, delete. They just send out endless emails. Has Rush really gone over to Trump? Was that man right? I would have to say that I am very surprised, if that's true. Somebody else, please come along and either confirm that or deny, if you wouldn't mind. I really would like to know, and I've not been listening to Rush. I have no idea what his position on this is. Skype brings you upon the air. Hello.
Oh, hi, Art.
Hi.
Hey, it's Kevin Tosh calling from Seattle. And I want to talk a little bit about some drone technology and physics concept I've got. But first, just to get it out of the way, I think Trump is as frightening as he is exciting right now. But he's more like it seems more like a pro wrestler on TV or something like that. Harder you hit him, the stronger he gets.
Well, that certainly is true. If nominated and then if elected, the big question is there another Donald Trump in there? Is there somebody who, once he is in office, wouldn't scare the hell out of us?
Well, I think you're right. I think he is kind of two people. I think he knows.
No, I didn't say he was. I'm asking you. Do you think he is?
Well, I think he's got to be. He can't be what he looks like face value. I think he on TV. He just wants to win, but he's smarter than that. I think he's a winner in his own right. He's got to be smarter to be able to do what he does. So
I hope you're right.
We'll see.
Uh-huh.
I just like that he's shaking everything up. I think we really needed that.
Oh, he's doing that already.
Anyway, so which you have a DJI Phantom? Which one do you have?
I have the 3 Advanced.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got a Phantom 2, and I was just watching today about the Phantom 4 with the collision avoidance technology.
I couldn't believe it. Well, like 3 weeks after I buy the 3 Advanced, they come out with. But I'm okay. There are other cool things about the 4. Yeah. But the 3 Advanced was a really good price. I caught it at $7.99.
Oh, no, that's great. I'm about $3,000 into mine.
Yeah.
You don't start out that way. But, Amazon's going to need this kind of avoidance technology. I've watched DARPA videos where they have swarms of drones that can fly like a cloud, and they don't touch each other.
Right.
And it really got me thinking, you had a story once about some people on a highway at night that went through an intersection and collided with a truck and went right through the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me thinking that, atoms have a lot of space in between the electrons. And if you could somehow modify the electrons with some kind of collision avoidance technology, you could pass solid objects through solid objects.
There could be some foundation to that, I suppose, but that's quite a separation of atoms.
Yeah, we don't have that yet, but I could put that all together in my mind and think, wow, we're just starting.
Oh, we are
amazing.
Trying to imagine where it is 10 years from now, when I can't get 2 or 3 weeks down the line without a new model coming out, investing what I have, it's just impossible to even imagine where it might be.
Well, and everybody's going to have a drone, and we're going to have clouds of drones out there that need to not run into each other. They need to pass, groups of them need to be able to pass by each other.
Kind of like the same need we'd have if we had a flying car.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
I know.
I'm just waiting for my Tesla 3.
I know. Where's my flying car?
I know. Anyway, it's fun to hear you talk about your drone. And have you peeked over the hills and looked into Area 51?
Do you really think that I would take something I paid that kind of money for and fly it into Area 51?
Well,
maybe.
It'd be maybe once.
That's all you'd get is once. All right, sir. Thank you very much for the call. It's tempting. Really tempting. Would come under the category of things that I've always wanted to do, things that I've thought of doing, things even that I've dreamed of doing, but have not quite yet accomplished. Would I do it? I don't know. It comes under the category of what if you were fearless, what would you do? Yes, then I would drive down Highway 95 until I got to the right location, near the mailbox maybe, put my drone up, tell it a gentle goodbye, and proceed. Hello there, Marysville somewhere or another. You're on the air.
Yes, it's WQTT 1270 here in Marysville.
Ohio?
Yes, Ohio.
Ohio, such an important state, man.
We're about 30 miles north of Columbus.
Right. Such an important state coming up in this election, sir. Can you tell me how you think Ohio will go?
I can tell you just from what I've seen around town, and now I live in a town that is basically Republican all the way.
Okay.
People are trying to decide just simply what to do, and they're probably going to go Trump before it's over. They like the governor, but there's a lot of people in this area that work over the penitentiary here, women's penitentiary, different things that are state. And a lot of them are mad because she shrank a lot of that kind of stuff, and they did lose some jobs. And it's nothing major, but we're living in that part of the country where that happens. So
Governor Kasich, he really says a lot about how many jobs he's created in Ohio.
He's created a lot. He messed up a few, but we're right in that place where he's messed up a few. So this part, and we'll probably go. They were talking about the upper part of the state, looking Kasich. Cincinnati's as much Kasich as they are. So I don't know. It's up in the air here, and it can go either way. I don't really care which way it goes. The thing with Kasich is if he wants to run or wants to get in there, he might as well just go to Trump and say, hey, take me as a vice president.
Well, you're certainly the only person who's called and said, I don't care how it goes.
Well, at this point, look at every president we've had, and everyone fusses, says, oh, we need this one, we need that one. We get one, and we go on. Look at the one we've got now. Yeah, in my opinion, he hadn't done real good, but we're going to go on someplace. Now, what we don't want to do is keep going with the same party all the time. That's a blow up. I think we ought to just change back and forth every other time and forget it.
Well, I do. I have sympathy with that point of view, actually. If any one party stays in office too long, they have too many opportunities to affect the Supreme Court. And another 4 or perhaps even 8 years of Democrats with the nominations that would come along with them could really change everything about America. So, there really is a lot at stake. I mean, there's a lot at stake. This has been some crazy season, and I don't know that I should be admitting that I have enjoyed watching I don't know, what do you call it, the strife? The wild I have enjoyed it. I just admit it. I've really enjoyed it. I am a political person at heart, and I know that probably I'll be crucified for bringing it up on the show and talking about it. But, I'm old. I don't care. Skype, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Ed. I'm on the air.
Did you call me Ed?
I'm sorry. I meant Art.
Ed's not here.
No. Ed's listening on the other radio.
Okay.
We're part of the Houston QRP Club. All of us. We're all big fans.
All right.
But anyhow, no, I think this has been one of the most exciting election cycles I've seen since the H. Ross Perot debacle in the 90s.
Oh, yes.
I see the same. It's kind of an interesting thing in that no matter what the person is, as long as they're not that type of insider, so to speak, people are just glom to them, no matter who they are or what they do. And as for the one caller who was so concerned with throwing people out without their coats in Vermont,
right?
I found that to be just right, because I'm getting tired of these people breaking in with violent and rude protests to these people. I don't care if I agree or disagree. I don't care if it's Hillary Clinton. I wouldn't do that to her. She has a right to speak at her rally. If you want to protest, go outside and protest. You know what I mean?
You're talking about taking her coat, Hillary's coat? I wouldn't do that to the country.
No. I was talking about a protester.
Oh.
Yeah, the protesters that broke into the Trump thing and had them take their coats and toss them out.
Yeah, I know.
But anyhow, now, as for what would I do if I were fearless?
Yeah.
I still remember, I believe it was an April 1st show of yours where a guy supposedly flew and landed in Area 51.
Well, I don't know about landing. He flew in. We don't know.
Ed and I listened to that night. We called each other right as that happened. And we go, did we hear what we just thought we heard?
You did.
Excellent radio, Art. It was great.
It was.
But still, yeah, that's what I did. I'd make it. I'd land right there, just like the guy did on Red Square. And I'd get out, take a selfie, and get ready for a long stint in Leavenworth or wherever they'd send me.
Mm-hmm. If you weren't instantly extinguished.
Oh, I don't think they'll do that now. Kinder, gentler, probably smaller bullets.
There's a lot of kinder and gentler out there, sir, but trust me, you would be extinguished. You would be dust. There are some things that you don't fool with, and Area 51 really is one of those. So, yeah, only if you were entirely fearless would you proceed along those lines. You would be atomized. You would be gone, and you wouldn't even know you were gone. You would just, like that. Great way to go, though, actually. All right, let's see. Let's go to, I don't know, let's go to this line. First-time caller line. Hi.
Hello, Art.
Hi.
How's it going? I'm calling about John Teeter.
Huh?
And I don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to try to explain quickly my involvement in all this.
Are you involved with John Teeter?
Yes. Basically those faxes you got in the late 90s, I believe it was 97 or 98, I was the one that came up with the idea for those faxes to be sent to you to prove that John Teeter was a real time traveler. And you got those faxes, and they're on the internet now.
You know him to be a real-time traveler, and how do you know this?
I don't know him personally, but I was one of the people.
Well, wait a minute, sir. A fax doesn't prove. Hold on. A fax doesn't prove anything. Okay. I'm asking you straight out. How do you know he's a real-time traveler?
Well, I mean, it's more so. Well, when I first met him, it was a gut feeling that made me trust it because it's a long story, like I said. At that time, it was around 1999 when I was posting on conspiracy forums, like Post to Post.
Yes.
And and I was posting how the Serbians shot down Estelle. And everyone was denying it and thinking I was crazy and I didn't know what I was talking about. And at the same time, there was a I'm a time traveler from 2036 post going on, and everyone thought he was crazy too.
I recall. I'm going to ask you straight out one more time because there's not a lot of time. How do you know he's a real time traveler?
Well, because the fax that was sent to you in the 90s proves that the 9/11 predictions, there's 3 of them that are around. 3 of those faxes are out and circulated thanks to your show and the help of your show, which is how we got it out there. My idea was, like, if you want to prove you're a time traveler, send it coast to coast, where, like, it's a forum where everyone will be able to see it and prove it, and give us a prediction that hasn't happened yet. Because up until that point, when I was talking to him, 9/11 hasn't happened. I didn't even know 9/11 was going to happen, and I didn't find out until years later that holy crap, he did make the prediction, and it was true, and it ended up onto your show.
You should be in politics.
I think so. And by the way, time travelers and I endorse Donald Trump.
It's the way you answer questions, or not.
What? Well, I just want to say another thing. It's very interesting that it's 3/12/2016, because John Teeter said that World War III started on 3/12/2015 in his world line.
Okay.
Isn't that, and that's why I had to call Art, because you were on the air a year after in his timeline that World War III started, and it's just amazing to me that you're talking about Trump and politics right now, because I think this is very important, because in the year 2000 he tried warning us that the election was going to be rigged, and this is what's happening right now, and people in Michigan didn't let it happen, and Ohio, Illinois, and Wisconsin need to follow suit and not allow our elections to be stolen.
Right.
And that's really all I really need to say about that.
Well, there's one more thing you need to say. Okay?
What?
You ready?
Yeah.
Say good night, world.
Good night, world.
That's it. Next time, folks, from the high desert, great American Southwest, you all, look at those phone lines all full, Skype going nuts. Good night.
And that was the very last time Art Bell was on the radio. He never made another appearance on Midnight in the Desert or any other radio program. And as we had gone through previously, he then, of course, passed away about 2 years and a month to this particular radio presentation. Alright, we'll do just a couple battles here in the arena, and then we'll call it a day. Let everybody catch themselves up. While we're waiting, start doing the spiel. As always, make sure you do like, share, and subscribe. Get us to those goals of 5,000 views of the videos. That's Boxing Extra's goal. That's the minimum before they'll even look at us. Start sending us items that we can send to you. Make us possible to be in the postings that they make for content created by users. And 1,000 subscribers, that's YouTube's goal, so that they can start sending us items through both Google and YouTube. And both of those, again, I'm not going to keep anything once we do get anything from either group. Just we'll immediately pass it off to you guys, the guests and watchers of the show. Coinbase.com/join/Steve Parsley. Fill that out. You get yourself $10 free Bitcoin, which you can use to get diamonds, Valkyrie Favor, emeralds, packages, whatever you like here in Dominion, as Nexters does accept crypto as payment. Also, once you do sign up, you can then go through Coinbase Earn, EARN, which gives you less than 2-minute lessons. Usually it's like 5 or 6 slides. And then one question is all the quiz is afterwards. Make sure that you did actually understand what was presented. And then they give you free cryptocurrency for doing so. Up to $100 worth in varying different currencies. And you are free to exchange them to Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, whatever you like. Immediately, there is no holding period or anything required. and again can be used here in Dominion. Working on those other partners. A few did fall through, but I think I've got one or two that are going to come through here shortly that we will be bringing out as extra ways for you to earn some free money to be able to go ahead and get your items that you'd want here in Dominion. And again, as we talked about earlier, if you do like the idea that I floated in my mind about making these episodes shorter to maybe help with the YouTube algorithm, either down in the comments or send it over to gcherowars@gmail.com. That's GC Hero Wars, just like the name of the channel, at gmail.com. Until next time, as always, make sure you do like, share, and subscribe. Be good for one another. And come on back for more from day one. Have a great night, everybody.